Now we're pleased to welcome on to the Husker Online show the head coach here of the Bulldogs, Jessi Owen, joining us here. And Coach,
Jessi,
first of all, we appreciate the setup. You got us a nice room, a backdrop. This is first class.
Yeah, we better thank our boosters for this backdrop here, but we had a feeling we'd be putting it to good use soon.
Yeah, you're the head coach. Always thank your boosters.
Absolutely.
Make sure you do that.
Yeah.
Well, Jessi, let's get into today, because obviously it's been a long year to get to this moment with the number of coaches that you've dealt with and a lot of media members that you've probably got to know over the last several months, just to get to this day. How special is this moment for the community of Ainsworth?
Yeah, I look at it as from a program standpoint. This is fantastic. You know, we talked in interviews how Ainsworth hadn't had a winning season in about 20 years, and we came rolling this year and went 8-0 in the regular season. Just to see the community support around here. And a good example could be a reason why Carter chose Nebraska was just the support for the Big Red. He humbly thought originally I told you he wanted to just tweet out his announcement. Then he said, well, maybe an Instagram live story. We can tell people they can come if they want. Maybe there'll be 20 people. No, buddy, you're going to have over 100 people. Ainsworth's going to show out. So,
and they did.
They did.
There's over 100 people, but Carter kept it pretty simple.
Yeah.
Is that kind of Carter's personality?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's not a big him guy. I don't know if you noticed his teammates were up there with him. His family and coaches. And I think that shows a big part going into this deal. You worry a little bit about, could this be a distraction potentially? And was it? It's hard not to be. You got 15-year-old kids and you got Matt Rule showing up to a basketball game. I mean, that's a fun deal for everybody, but he does a great job focusing in on what's important.
I was struck by I noticed he waited for all his teammates to get here. There was one who kind of showed up late. They're waiting for him. They all, at the end, he high-fived each of them. Each of them gave him a hug. That seemed all very real to me.
Yeah, well, we're in the summer. Right? We don't have time to tell the boys, hey, this is a lot of media here. You need to act this way. That's natural. Our boys are good kids.
Yeah, that's good.
Jessi, what was the spring and even January like for you, just with the number of coaches that came in? And I mean, I have to imagine, like, when Georgia's coming here and Notre Dame. I mean, give us an idea of just the different people that came in and out of this building and maybe the hoopla that each one of these visits brought to Ainsworth.
Yeah. So each school is, different in their organization. Some schools would be very in advance and say, hey, we have this period where we're going to travel. Can I come out this week? What day works for you? To some schools that there were a couple that would let me know maybe on a Sunday, hey, can I come Monday or Tuesday? And I'm in no position really to tell these kids, no, I want what's best for Carter. But man, it got crazy there for a while as far as the timing of day. I mean, you get coaches that are coming out and they're not allowed to contact Carter, but they want him to know that they're interested. So then I had to host all these coaches while, making lesson plans to try to balance all that.
Oh yeah.
But it was fun to see, coaches coming through the hallway and just some of our young kids light up. Georgia's in the hallway, Nebraska's here today, things like that.
So they see a Georgia coach coming through. They see a Penn State coach coming through.
Yeah, things like that.
What did you learn? I asked you this off air, but I'm kind of interested to ask you again. What are your biggest takeaways from this process? What did you learn? Did you learn anything about college football?
Yeah. So, one, I learned all the rules of how everything goes as far as contact periods, things like that. But like I told you earlier, the amount of time and effort that these coaches have to put in to stay in the game right now it's incredible. I feel bad as a high school coach how much time I put in, taking time away from family and things like that. And that's always kind of what I ask those guys. And it seems like each staff is a little bit different. Some coaches are more demanding than others.
Yeah.
I'm curious, did every coach fly into Ainsworth private, or did some fly somewhere else and then drive up?
Yeah, it depended, I guess, if the big guns were coming or not. Georgia's coach flew every time, and this would be
he'd land in
their
town.
Tight ends coach. He'd come to the airport here and then stay. Notre Dame flew when it was Marcus Freeman. Matt Rule flew when he came out. But otherwise, that was kind of the fun part too, was all these coaches would call and we'd try to figure out what was easy. Sioux Falls, Grand Island, Omaha, Lincoln, things like that. And some were a lot more receptive than others. Some made the comment like, "Oh man, I don't know." And it's like, well,
What do you mean they don't know? What do you mean?
The drive
like
distance.
they didn't know their confidence level in being able to pull it off. And that's, speaks highly of the coaches, and a lot of don't get me wrong, a lot of people made the effort, but like in the spring, I think there's a 2-week time period that these coaches can travel. They can, fly to Kansas City and hit up 12 schools while they're there, or they can take an entire day's time and come see one kid. And that showed, Carter, how real some of these guys were.
Speaking of real, how suspenseful was this in building towards today, June 28th, where Carter Nelson picked Nebraska? How much suspense has there been in the last few days?
For myself, none. As you guys know, he committed while he was on his official. Something struck him. The visit went. Nebraska hit all the right buttons. Kudos to their staff. They did a great job.
And you didn't know that was coming.
I didn't know he was planning on that. No,
You didn't. That's what I was
yeah.
getting at.
Nebraska did a great job. Their staff has been really good this whole time, and as far as checking in to see how Carter's doing, what's he thinking, things like that. Kudos. Name that you might, Christian Ellsworth. He's an assistant tight ends coach. Has been big.
GI Northwest.
Yes, a Nebraska guy. He's been great in this process.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean they all have. Yeah. Coach Foley, Coach Wager, all of them. But no, suspense wise, I was very shocked that day. Not that Nebraska was ever out of the picture, but we had it planned. He was going to take these visits, and you're a 17-year-old kid at these big places, obviously everything's attractive. We were going to sit down and weigh it all out. I could hear it in his voice when he called. He said, "Coach, it's different." He said, I'm going to commit. I thought I better let you know first. I said, "Okay."
Oh God, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice of him.
Great kid.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where people thought, you saw people picking Georgia. A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And even Notre Dame experts had Notre Dame. Like both those teams, at least at one point, felt pretty good about where they were at with Carter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you go on these visits and they were all great programs. And that's ultimately what we told him is there's no wrong decision. Find those things that are going to stick out at a program. And that's what made Nebraska different. He saw it today, that he's got the support. His family's here.
Yeah, you heard the eruption.
Right.
You heard the eruption. You heard the Go Big Red. Yeah, it was really striking.
Well, just to be able to get to games. A little over a 4-hour drive to Lincoln, just for the community, his family, his friends. How big do you think that factor is too? That, if you went somewhere far away, it would be really hard for anyone to go watch him play a game in person. But now, you can get to almost every home game.
So one thing, a story, I don't know if he shared, but his little cousin that's in that video he played, that's gone on visits with him, and that kid's got a great personality on him himself. But Carter said a moment that really struck him was when he went on his official visit and he got to go play mini golf with his cousin, his official at Nebraska.
And his cousin lives in Lincoln?
His cousin lived, I believe so, right in that area. So
and he got to do what?
He went and played putt-putt golf with him. And he said just the ability to escape for an hour.
Yeah.
So
that's good insight. That's good insight. Okay, now let's zoom out though.
Okay.
What is, and a lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't. What is Nebraska getting in Carter Nelson?
You want to talk skill or you want to talk
skill?
Okay.
That's what I'm most interested in.
Absolutely. They're getting a unique talent for sure. You talk about just his size combined with his speed.
6'4", 215.
Yeah, I think he might be closer to 6'5" right now.
Oh, hell.
I think he's over 220 now is what he told Brian Munson.
He's
he had a lot of official visit food this week.
That could be.
A lot of crab legs.
Okay, 6'5", 220. What else?
But just the way, we play 8-man ball, so our numbers are different. We can do some different things with an even number on the field.
Yeah.
But we move them all over, and I think that's something that Nebraska. Now we can say it.
Yeah.
That Nebraska's getting an advantage there. You can line him up as an H-back and try to.
Okay.
You get a linebacker on him.
Okay.
He's going to have the speed. You get a cornerback safety type on him. He's going to have the size.
Yeah.
So
matchups. It's all about matchups.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, this has been a lot of fun. This is our second trip up to Ainsworth. I'm going to Atkinson later this month for a family reunion. So I get to come up here 3 times in about
really
6 months.
Enjoy it.
I don't think I've been to Omaha 3 times in the last 6 months. I live in Lincoln. So it's been a lot of fun to get up here and it's just watch this from afar, because stuff like this, I don't care where you're from in the state, doesn't happen. And to have it happen in a place like this, it's been really special to see. And we appreciate you and all the hospitality you've given us and access you've given us over this process.
Well, thank you guys for making the trip out here.
Oh, Jessi,
Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And